I'd like to call to order the Planning Commission meeting for the Village of Beverly Hills for February 25th, 2026. Lydia, will you call roll, please?
Of course. Chair Westerland,
Here.
Vice Chair Dillard Rousseau,
Here.
Secretary Copeland, Miss Erickson,
Here.
Mr. Campbell, Miss Harper,
Here.
Mr. Ross, Mr. Lucas,
Here.
and Mr. Trust. Perfect. We have a quorum.
Fantastic. However, we have a few of our members who are excused, so I'm looking for a motion to excuse Copeland, Campbell, Ross, and Truss. If somebody be in favor to make a motion.
Motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to excuse members Copeland, Campbell, Ross, and Truss. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, before us, we have an agenda, and I am looking for an approval for that agenda that's in front of us.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda as written.
Fantastic. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we also have the minutes from the January 28th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. Hopefully, everybody's had a chance to review them. If there's any comments, let me know. Otherwise, I'd be open for a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the minutes as submitted.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I heard Elizabeth first. So Elizabeth's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, looking for public comments on items not on the published agenda. If there's anybody here from the public wishing to speak on something that's not on the agenda, please come forward. Seeing none, we're going to move right along to old business. All right, we have Planning Commission Case 26-01-02, Special Land Use and Site Plan Review for Detroit Country Day School. Susie.
Hi, nice to see you all this evening. So we did have this case before us at the last meeting. Was tabled in order. It was tabled in order to provide the applicant with more time to gather some information specifically around the scoreboard, right? The size, the sound, how far is that sound going? And, give us some details on what kind of trees or other vegetation may be removed as part of that scoreboard project. And what's going to happen with that vegetation. And after speaking with the applicant a couple times over, right, we determined it's probably best to separate those two. Separate the scoreboard and all elements of that scoreboard. Sorry. In my way of looking down this way. To separate the scoreboard entirely from the overall site plan and special land use consideration, so that they can move forward on the elements that Planning Commission feels that they're ready to move forward on, and that'll give them more time to really dig into the sound study that was required of them. They're about halfway, at least as of our last conversation about a week and a half ago. So there's still some work to be done, and they want to be able to do that in a thoughtful and methodical way that really answers all the questions that came out in our January meeting about that. So, so tonight we are going to consider the bulk of those elements, right? So as a reminder, that's the pedestrian walkway, the ADA improvements, especially down near the concessions area, the lighting, the new track, the new turf, the lighting on the field, the landscaping, yeah, the bleachers is a huge thing, thank you. And the remaining elements. One of the items that we had talked about at the January meeting was about the signage. Recall there's logos placed throughout the pedestrian walkway on those, I'll call them the lighting piers, right? We've got those, there was the banners, they've got their logo as a 3D sculpture that we are also talking about. And so Brian and I did dive into that, the logo and the signage element of it specifically. And as we know, and it's, really emphasized throughout Brian's review letter, there's many elements of this project that don't fit neatly, if at all, into the ordinance, right? We don't have the standards for institutional. So, at least in terms of the banners, and I'll try and be as systematic as I possibly can. So the banners, within the sign ordinance, there is a list of exempt signage, if you will. One of them being public or private school achievement banners. Let me get to that. Where's it? Exempt signs. And that specifically says achievement signs, they are signs erected by or for a public or private school announcing the achievements of the school or its students, provided each such sign is no more than 18 square feet in area. As I believe we discussed at the meeting in January, these are really going to be signs that are highlighting their students and their athletic achievements. The football players, the baseball players, and other school achievement related items. So I'm comfortable considering the banners themselves to be exempt signage. In terms of the logo placement, I took a long look at the actual purpose and intent section of the sign ordinance regulations. And really, the emphasis to me is on the public realm, right? It's signs necessary to enable the public to locate goods, services, and facilities without difficulty or confusion, promoting traffic safety, safeguarding the public health and welfare, and discouraging visual competition between businesses. That to me is the public realm. That is not really considering anything internal to a site, right? And we don't have sites other than this, of this size and magnitude, where you're going to have that kind of signage, right? And again, like you go into the other, the other kind of subsections of that, creating a more attractive business climate and character and a unique sense of place within the village. Their signage is intended to make that unique sense of character and place on their site, right? That is, they're promoting that healthy school pride, right? And then lastly, it's again to create unique signage that is unique and creative to help reinforce the business brand and identification, right? So yes, they are doing those things. So I don't see an issue with the logo placement on the interior of the site. Now, if this was out at the intersection or out at their entrance, totally different story. Then I think the standards of the sign ordinance would very clearly apply to what they're trying to do. But given where this is located and what it's intended for and who it's intended for, I don't think there's an issue with the logos. Same with the sculpture. There is nothing in our ordinance that remotely discusses art. There's one little thing about murals as artwork, and that is truly the only reference to art in any way, shape, or form, which is sad, and we're totally going to fix that over the next couple of years as we go through the rest of the projects that I've got lined up for us. But, I have no problem with art, right? So those are the outstanding items I think that we really had to talk about. I know I had said I could bring it to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm still happy to do that, but they're not meeting until March 9th. So I figured I'd offer my perspective on that before you begin making your deliberations and considerations. But Brian, did you have anything else that needed to be added that I maybe missed?
I think, Mr. Chair, I think Susie's covered it well. You still have my review letter from last month, and I think once you take that, I did not issue a new review letter. I didn't think it was worth the while, quite frankly. And I think if you go through it, my issues were tied to the potential impacts of the scoreboard. So the removal of the scoreboard in general, I feel removes a lot of the impacts and concerns that were in my write-up. And I think by addressing the logos, sculpture, banners with the village staff's interpretation, I think to me, that resolves that. I support Susie's opinion on that. So I think, again, it's up to you all. I feel this is ready to move forward, and then it'll give us an opportunity to deal with the scoreboard at a later date on its own, and when the petitioner has had sufficient time to really dive into those impacts that were discussed at last month's meeting. So the only closing point I have, save for any questions the commission may have, would be a reminder that this is a special land use. So this is in front of you for both special use and site plan. And those will be, if you're ready to move forward, those will be in the form of recommendations to council. Council has the final review authority because it's a special land use.
Okay, great, thank you. Before we do the public hearing, I think
We
we'll.
don't need to do another public hearing.
You don't?
Nope,
Okay.
because that was, we held it,
Yeah, we did.
and we just tabled, so we're good.
So if I may ask the applicant to come forward and tell the other planning commission members a little bit about what you're proposing tonight, because they weren't here last week,
Some of
that
them
would be
weren't
great.
here. Have no fear. Yeah, the
Yeah,
way
yeah, that-
abbreviated version.
That's good.
No, I really like you, Rich, and I think that was a great presentation last time. But let's not and say we didn't.
But you're a designer, you like to talk about your project. so.
It's a good project, right?
Bring it forward, yeah. So,
Right.
hi, good evening. My name is Richard Hodek. I'm the president of Grissom Metz Andrews Associates. We're landscape architects located in, what do you need the address? 15,000 North Edward Hines Drive, Plymouth. So usually have to do that. So again, I'll just kind of reiterate our project, where we stand currently. If you can see my cursor, we have a project basically encompasses the track, the football field, the bleacher area, and really starting on the upper level is the school wants to create a sense of a place and a sense of camaraderie and fellowship and excitement about the athletics complex. Right now, this all sits down in a hole, and this is an asphalt and concrete driveway that they really want to elevate the whole experience. So starting at this drop-off area here, we're going to remove all of this paving, coming around back to past the concessions building, up to, and tying back into this area. And right now, this is it's an emergency fire access lane. So it's 20 feet wide, used primarily for that, and some service vehicles for the school. So this is kind of just some imagery that's occurring there. These are pavers that have probably been in place for over 20 plus years. It's all precast concrete. They have multiple issues with constantly replacing the pavers, asphalt paving, curbed. You know, it's a vehicular, the whole experience, right? This is how everyone comes to the stands, is down this road. They shut the road off, and you know, you're either walking on this little sidewalk or down through here. You get down to the very east end now, down by the concessions building, and there's a severe grade drop that comes off of that road. So it's a dangerous condition for vehicles to drive around. There's actually signs up that says, you know, caution, you know, severe angle. So they want to improve all of these things. So we came up, we were brought in and to design this pedestrian, make this a pedestrian plaza and terrace and, you know, arrival area. So these are just kind of some of the precedent imagery, the thought of bringing this, really elevating this to more of almost a collegiate level experience, and really tying in. One of the things is that they've already got a lot of the architecture is there. a lot of the buildings have the same architecture and vernacular. So we wanted to carry that through into the landscape improvements. So through masonry, some of the paving, upgrade the landscaping. We talked about having, banners, and then also these little, kind of these Instagram moments, right? It's a place where people can kind of congregate and kind of take their photos and share it with their friends and family. So this is the plan. Again, we'll get more into this in the images that I show, but they're in the current, right, what they're going to be doing is they're going to expand the current size of their bleachers, I think, or is it from 800, Scott, to make 1,000 seats or something? Somewhere in there, so they're lengthening the bleachers. The track itself, the asphalt is all remaining in place. They're going to basically pull up the red coating, put down new coating system on it. They're going to pull up the existing synthetic turf football field, keep the aggregate base all in place, put in a new synthetic turf surfacing, and then also create really a much improved access here coming off of the upper level and down through a ramp to get down to the lower level. So starts out, this is your sense of arrival, right? When you come into here, there's going to be this archway, has the athletic logo here, calls out the athletics complex. On the back side of the sign, it's going to actually have their motto. It's in Latin, and I don't speak Latin, so I can't tell you what that is, but there you go. So it's on the back side as you leave. You have this this moment of remembrance as you leave. But so again, changing up creating these masonry columns that are going to be matching the same brick on the building, and upgrading. You can start to see some of the upgrading of the landscape. Creating these masonry columns. Right now, there's 3 light poles that exist down there. So once you get past a certain point, it becomes very dark. So these masonry columns are going to have lights on them. They're going to have banners to identify and light up this corridor. All taking out all the concrete and asphalt, creating new paving systems in there. And this right here is kind of this is their alumni area here. So this is one in future plans. This is to bring this pavilion, this outdoor space for the alumni. Has an overlook that they always congregate down in this location. As you move back out of there, back onto the walkway, upgrading and putting in landscaping to soften the building right now. Again, that's paved from really that whole 20-foot width that you're seeing there, plus up to the building is all concrete and asphalt. So we're going to put some landscape into it, soften it up. As you move down a little bit further, you start to see this logo element here. This is about 12 feet high and about 13 feet wide. And so again, just kind of an Instagram moment. And one of the things that we felt, the reason we did it here was that there's a cooler, kind of a masonry built screen wall here that has all their cooler units in it. And you don't know how to get to the baseball field. You would never even know. So we're looking at putting some wall graphics up here as identifiers, and kind of make this change out the look of this space as opposed to just being a pull-off spot. It becomes a little bit of a pedestrian plaza and a moment of pause and a turning moment of, okay, you got to walk through this wall here and you get into the baseball field. As you come down get to now where you get to the terrace area, we're changing the paving up again from basically concrete and a brick border to all brick to again elevate the experience and the look of what's occurring out here. Looking at building these pavilions and updating. We're going to remove the wall, put a new wall into here, kind of some lean rails into here, outdoor seating. There's kind of a view of this minus the scoreboard. Just another aerial view. Again, extending the bleachers, upgrading the look there. Again, just another view of the pavilions. So there'd be one on the home side, and then there's a smaller one over at the visitor side. One of the big things then as we get down to this area here is right now, again, this grade is probably being brought up about 2.5 or 3 feet higher than where it is currently. So it's trying to make it a much safer condition, elevating this whole area up so that it's a much more usable space. As you get down to this very far end here, at this point is where as it starts to turn, we brought in a new staircase and then a barrier-free ADA ramp. And so this ramp is it's going to be about 8 feet wide. Because of the grade change that we have, there's 7 feet of grade change from this upper level down to this terrace. So we're needing to elevate that, bring the ramp in, but they need to still be able to get down there to bring supplies. So we've widened the ramp in order for them to get like a gator, kind of a little like almost like a golf cart type truck down this ramp so they can bring supplies down to this area for the concessions building. This will have piers that with guardrail, 42-inch height guardrails that meet all the code, lighting that's built into the piers, and there's also lighting that'll be built into this wall. So all the photometrics studies that we've done, we've got all of the lighting. We've met those standards. Upgrading some of the lighting that's on the building right now from just these kind of generic wall packs to bringing up the same lights that we have on the columns. Here's a level or kind of an aerial. We've added a staircase down at this end because the baseball field sits just off to the lower left here. And so they've asked us, can we bring in another staircase so that when people are, teams that are coming out from their games, they can access down to this area. And one of the things, we don't have it shown here, I don't think it's not even shown here. At the lower level, there's some wood timber steps that come from the field up to here. But what happens is that's for both the teams, right, home and visitors. So when the visitors come up, they have to come up through here, come through this area, the concessions, the front where they're mixing with everyone, to get to the other side of the concessions building to get to their team room. So we're making a new sidewalk around the backside, new improved sidewalk down to and stairs down to the field. So it's kind of covered up by the trees here, but there's a ramp and walk that's already here, and they'll be able to now safely come into that concessions building, and then kind of here's just a back shot of the project area. So a lot quicker than the last presentation. Brian's probably happy. I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it was good.
So if there's any questions, and one of the things that you had mentioned is, along with the scoreboard issue, there was some discussion about the trees that there's like 11 evergreen trees that were brought up as a note.
Yes.
So we are looking into those, whether we can either transplant those, potentially still this spring, as opposed to just cutting them out. But if we have to remove them, we still have, the new landscaping plus additional trees in here, so we'd still be replacing them. They're in no means like a heritage level tree of any substantial size. So we would be just replacing them one for one. But we have to take them out in order to put the new trees in and some of the landscape, so.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Rich. All right, bring it back to the commission. Does anybody have any questions of the applicant, Brian or Susie?
Just a point of clarification, you had mentioned initially that road was for special vehicles such as fire trucks and police. I'm assuming that is still something that they can use to access?
Yes.
Okay.
So absolutely, that was critical. So it's, again, I mentioned it's a 25 or 20-foot road width currently. We will still keep it at 20 feet. We've already had a geotech report that's been done and designed, so they've designed the paving thickness relative to that so that it will support a fire truck access. So that we can't build anything permanent in there outside of the paving. So there's no permanent furniture or any other improvements that would obstruct an emergency vehicle getting from the drop-off area back around and connecting back in around that baseball field area, so.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yep.
I guess I'm just going to chime in on I appreciate, Susie, the reference to the signs. However, in my opinion, I think those are good points as an argument, and I think that should go to ZBA, so then it's passed through with some protocols, understanding that they sought a variance for the banners and the athletic campus and the mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
Okay, I knew something was in there. Sound mind, sound body.
Fencing, so I just wasn't sure. Is that in the plan or? Okay, so, yeah, it hasn't,
So it's just a matter of making sure that we've got that all captured. I just think that then it clarifies it, and that there's, in my opinion, that if there's a ZBA motion on that would button this thing up really nicely. I think other than that, the colonnade's really nice. I think it really elevates the campus. I think it's a great asset. So everything that is being proposed here, I think is wonderful. I think just buttoning that up, in my opinion, would be great. Anybody else from the commission?
Mr. Chair, could I just add one quick point that I did not mention earlier?
Sure.
If the commission is ready to move this forward this evening, if you're going to put forth favorable recommendations, I would request that you include final engineering as a condition to your site plan motion, which is kind of a given, but I like to make sure that, we've tied up any loose ends. And the petitioner's already well aware of that, but because of the nature and scope of this project, especially the stormwater, the grading, the drainage, those are going to be really important elements. I just want to make sure we don't gloss over that.
Sure, I was going to actually, if he's trying getting close, is identify Department of Public Services Engineering Consultant Review comments.
Thank you.
Clarification that, I don't know if everybody's looked closely at the diagrams, but there was a number 1 and number 2 identifying the phases. And we are actually only seeking approval for phase 2, or area designated as 2. I'm not going to call it phase 2. It's area 2. So I just want to make sure we're clarifying that.
I think it was on the other part.
It was on,
Mine.
so that's all. I just want to make sure, because we are not, did you see how the
Yes,
1
it's
and 2?
2-1, right?
Yep.
It's area 2 that's under consideration. So as long as in our motion, I think we acknowledge, not to forget about the scoreboard too, that is not part of this. So just that we delineate our recommendation, if that is the case. And if there's any others who'd be open to the ZBA, seeking ZBA approval for the signage, that would be another item that I think we ought to include. So if there's any discussion on that, if anybody,
Mr. Chair, I don't disagree. I think that would be smart, to the point that you made as far as wrapping it up nicely and having that ZBA kind of stamp of approval makes sense to me too. You just don't, I feel like it won't set a precedent here, but we'll have like concrete information that we can use moving forward. So I have no objection to that. Was that the only thing? Were those kind of the only concerns from last time?
so I guess going back, the conversation mostly stemmed around the scoreboard, the size of the scoreboard, the sound from the scoreboard, the angle, if it was distractive to any of the drivers coming up or going eastbound on 13 Mile Road due to the elevation changes, when you bring that scoreboard up. We had a little bit of discussion on the lights, lighting the field. They're reusing the existing poles and replacing the fixtures with LED fixtures, which allows better control of the light source. So there's existing lights there now, and so I think that's an improvement. We have a light study on there that shows that it was illuminating the field. We recognize that there was, besides the hardscaping improvements, the increased size of the bleachers, replacement of the turf, that was all in line. The addition of the alumni area, right now, previously they'd indicated that they used that as a grassy knoll, and set up a tent for the alumni, so this formalizes it nicely. So I think that those were the main concerns, was really stemmed and was focused on the scoreboard. I think that was about it, other than, we took the signs. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, Ashley.
No, I was here, no, that was accurate, that was, the big
Was there
concern was the
anything that I missed?
scoreboard. No, the scoreboard and the lighting, that was the big concern last time.
And we do,
Oh, no, go ahead.
I'm saying, we did recognize that the ordinance restricts the height of lights at 14 feet, and that the entry arch is actually at 15 foot to allow vehicles to pass underneath, and there's actually a recessed light fixture in the underside of that arch, correct?
Yeah, typically,
And so that is
15
technically at
feet is,
15 foot, but it's a recessed fixture that's going to illuminate.
it would be it'd be built into the bottom of that archway. And that'll be, because we don't have any lights off of that arch, it's just that'll be, come up underneath the bottom of that, and that'll wash out lighting up and around that area. So,
But then all the other lights along the colonnade were all at 14 foot.
Getting there. There we go.
Well, there's a sample
I miss it.
Started one.
on page, I don't know, 3 or 4. 8, top of page 8.
Go up. Okay, very good. Okay, Mr. Chair, if I could.
You may.
You ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can check the boxes.
All right. So, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the site plan.
We make a
A recommendation. Make a motion to make a recommendation to approve the site plan for the athletic complex improvements at Detroit Country Day School, ensuring that all references to the proposed scoreboard are removed, and provide a favorable recommendation to Village Council for special land use approval, but also, should I say remove or send to ZBA the portions dealing with the signage, some of the signage, banners, signage. And also ensure that the final engineering plan is satisfied, as well as Department of Public Safety and other entities that would have to sign off on both. Is that sufficient? For Area 2, and it's dealing with Area 2 as outlined in the documents.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Make sure I got it all.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
So we have a motion to recommend approval of the site plan, the special land use to council with a couple stipulations. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ashley. Lady, will you call roll, please?
Yes. Chair Westerland,
Yes.
Vice Chair Dillard Rousseau,
Yes.
Miss Erickson,
Yes.
Miss Harper,
Yes.
and Mr. Lucas.
Yes.
Fantastic.
all right,
Um,
thank you.
Good luck. I think it's a wonderful improvement. It looks really nice. Really looking forward to seeing that
So are
come
we.
to fruition. I'm sure you are. It looks very nice. Thank you.
Touch base tomorrow.
We'll chat tomorrow.
All right, will do. Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is not remote anymore.
Okay, moving on to new business. Seeing no new business on the agenda, we can move along to public comments. Any people from, anyone? Anyone from the public wish to be heard? None in the audience, so we'll move along. Liaison comments. Our liaison is not present, so we'll move on to staff comments.
I only
Staff report.
which I am really upset that didn't show up, because I put it in there so I wouldn't forget, so, but I didn't. I don't know why it didn't pop through. I guess I still need to figure out how to click the right boxes to make my memo show up like this, but, so I only have a few things. First, master plan and zoning ordinance rewrite. An RFP was released on February. Huh?
It sounds like
Your mic on.
Oh, I am. I figured I was loud enough. Might be the first time. Anyways, so RFP was released on February 11th. This is a combined project that we're tackling, which is a little unique, actually. So the proposals are due on March 11th. We've had some good interest. I've fielded a few calls and emails. I know Brian's fielded a couple of different calls and communications. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to get. In combining the projects, I mean, it's really meant to kind of take advantage of those built-in learning curves that any good consultant's gonna need to do, right? They have to learn about the master plan to put forth a really good ordinance, and they have to learn about the ordinance to put forth a really good master plan, and, like, what's messed up in the ordinance that needs to be fixed when we talk about the master plan, and vice versa, right? So, all told, I mean, it's gonna go sequentially and concurrent, kind of all smushed together at once, right? There will naturally be some necessary sequencing that happens, right? Master plan has to get adopted first. Zoning ordinance will have to get adopted last. I think this is gonna take about 1.5 to 2 years, all told, so. But it'll be good, and we'll have a better plan of attack, and I'm cautiously optimistic that by the time we have our next meeting in March, that we will have our consultant picked and projects awarded. So stay tuned.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, what is the review process? So you're going to have, hopefully very quickly, is it going to be an interview process with this, or just a review of the proposals?
Right now,
Shortlist?
we're reviewing, right now the plan is to do internal review of proposals. I've got a placeholder in my schedule for interviews if we think that that's necessary. I'm generally one that thinks that, like, once you get your proposal, you're gonna know, I also have a pretty good idea of the kind, like, who is going to be submitting proposals. I mean, who I'm looking forward to reading those proposals, and who maybe is gonna have a more difficult time competing with those other proposals, right? So a solid maybe on interviews.
Okay, so was it an invite list, or was it a public?
Public.
Okay.
It's posted on Mitten, the Michigan Intergovernmental Network for bids, right? So it's been posted on Mitten for 30 days. And so stay tuned. Public bid opening at like 2 o'clock on the 11th, right?
Okay.
Here, if you wanna check it out. But I'll keep you guys posted. Obviously, we're gonna be doing a lot of work over the next 1.5 years. Next up, continuing with planning, the American Planning Association is holding their annual conference in Detroit this year. Yeah! So that'll be really cool. It is April 25th through 28th, so it actually starts on a Saturday, which is odd, but whatever. Ends on a Tuesday. It should be really cool. I am personally, I know I'm going, the village manager is planning to go. I imagine you're going. I'm really looking forward to some of those remote sessions, right? Go check out what's been happening in our region. So that'll be it's the first time it's been in Detroit for, 20 years?
Oh, wow.
Pretty close to 20 years. So this is a big deal for planner nerds such as myself.
Where's the venue?
God, of course you had to ask me that
I'm sorry.
question. I don't know, Detroit,
Be down at Huntington Place. It's gonna be at Huntington
Yeah.
Place.
It's going to be that big of a space? That's, I'm just curious.
It is going to be, this is not,
it, so everyone's picking up on it.
Huntington Place, it's
I
gonna.
know it.
Huntington Place.
That's where everything is.
It's right down the street from us. We can
Guessed
stop
it.
it.
Right.
Yeah, so just pop on in. Yeah, Huntington Place is where it's gonna be, the bulk of the session, so, I can,
So is it going to have a Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday, there's, the mobile tours is probably the bulk of what happens on those,
Oh, okay.
on those
That'd be
2 days,
interesting.
right? So those are always fun, so. I'll send you the information, but if you, feel so inclined, you should totally go, learn some more things.
That would be nice. I wonder if some of our projects would be highlighted on those tours.
I think we're a
Way-
little behind, we didn't make it for those, but I also know that I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything yet, but, the National Main Street Conference will be coming to Michigan as well in the next, couple of years, so that
Cool.
one, I'm planning to get on.
Yeah.
On, and perhaps even the Michigan chapter, conference. So stay tuned, but that's a good opportunity to do some more learning. And last, but definitely not least, the Southfield Beverly Road intersection study is, I guess, underway. We kicked it off with a survey. We did learn our lesson from the last one. IP addresses are being verified. But that survey is up and open until next Friday, March 6th at 11:59 PM. So if you have not already taken this 11-question survey that will take you all of 11 minutes, please do so. And then send it to every single person in your orbit that lives in Beverly Hills or travels Southfield Road and passes through the Beverly Road intersection. This is just one of the ways that we're engaging with the public on this one. We're going to have some actual in-person meetings and get some additional input that way. But
Is it- oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Susie, I wasn't here. Was the survey also disseminated to like all the businesses in the areas? And
Yes.
everybody else? Okay.
Yep, I sent it, so I sent it to the Planning Commission, Zoning Board, got it to Village Council, obviously, in an initial email. I sent it to all the businesses and property owners that I have contact information for in our downtown area. It's been in our e-newsletter for like the last month and a bit. It's been on our Facebook page. It's been on our website. So keep sharing. I mean, we've got great responses, actually. We've already had, I talked to them this morning. We've had 636 responses, which is pretty darn good, right?
really good.
I was going to say like 150.
Yeah.
I know.
70 would have been good.
Go us, go Beverly Hills. We're
Yeah.
beach. So,
Someone's just been waiting, chomping at the bit for this one.
yes, I want to talk about
Finally.
this intersection. So please share. It'd be great to get over 1,000, but that could be pipe dreams. But
And it's not limited by one per household, is it? It's
no.
Or email, it doesn't matter.
No.
Okay,
You-
so I can submit.
no, like I filled it out. I travel that intersection at least twice a day, right? So, and I was trying to get the link to like send it back out, and I was like, "You've already accessed this." I'm like, "Son of a biscuit!" So I had to find another way, right? But no, please share it, and see what kind of input we can get. So, and that is all I have for you all this evening. Unless you have other questions for me.
So bring it back to the table, Commissioner comments. Elizabeth?
No comments from me at this time.
Robin?
Happy New Year. It's my first time being at the meeting all year, so Happy New Year, everybody.
Jeff?
Happy New Year.
There's an echo.
Ashley?
I have a commissioner question.
Okay.
Maybe that you maybe can address or not. So when January meeting, we talked about short-term rentals, and I think our subcommittee was disbanded because the new village attorney had a perspective that zoning is permissive and short-term rentals aren't allowed.
Yep.
And at that time, there hadn't been any action taken on implementing, stopping short-term rentals that are currently in use. And I was just curious if there was an update on that, or what was gonna happen with enforcing something that wasn't allowed.
Sure. So, and we were talking actually before the meeting officially convened about it. We weren't trying to talk behind your back, I promise. So we are, I don't believe we've started enforcement at this point. However, we are, I've got my code enforcement officer kind of busy with a few other things, but, we are gonna be making updates to the rental ordinance itself. Right now, I think that's chapter 10, and it is got some, it's bare bones, right? And so the building, whoa, I don't want that at all. The building department has requested changes to that anyway. So I was reviewing an initial draft for rental ordinance information. The new village attorney had recommended that maybe, it could be a fairly simple tweak to the definition of a rental, right? To specify very clearly that it has to be 31 days or more, right? Since what's been typically found is that short-term rentals are something less than that, right? So, and we've got that in the draft ordinance right now. I think, I made several tweaks to this ordinance today. So I don't know exactly how quickly that is going to get to council right now. My guess is probably April, right, when that's all said and done. So we're kind of shoring up what we can already. I will touch base with code enforcement tomorrow, right, to really find out when are we going to start issuing these. I know I have a short list, he's got a longer list, right? And the attorney has given us the go-ahead to start enforcing, and the village manager is supportive of that as well. So we're going to be getting on it, and I think once we have the tweaks to the rental ordinance overall, that will help give some extra teeth. Does that help?
Yes, yep, I was
All
just
right.
curious, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
May I, so in advance of the code enforcement, if people were to notify code enforcement, like
Yeah,
now,
please.
that's okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you know of one, send us an email. You can send it to me if that's easier, just send it to me. Be like, hey, here's one for you.
We can send it right to Mr. Young.
You can send it right to Mr. Young.
Okay.
You can send it to me. Either way, it's going to get.
Might be
Mr.
busy
Young.
tomorrow, I'll put it that way.
All right. Perfect. He's gonna be like, what did you talk to them about? You're like, we talk about things, man. So, no, so that'll be good for him to have that list, right?
Okay, I guess I don't have really anything. No, we're going to work on the development-ready communities, so
Yeah,
we're working on that.
we are working on that.
Okay, I have nothing else to add to that, so I guess I would look for, correspondence. Have any correspondences?
A couple of you had some things that, from the last meeting, they were carryover from the last meeting, the most recent Michigan Planning Magazine, and some just additional information, so happy reading. There is, and I don't think I mentioned it in January, but one of those things I see it on Jeff's, little trifold with some training opportunities. Flip through that. If you see something that you think the commission could benefit from, let me know. I am happy to try and arrange to have some training brought to us. That is one of the questions that was asked of me from the master plan. It was like, hey, do you guys want some training? I mean, it wasn't necessarily at the forefront of the radar for that particular proposal, but if they're willing to give it, then maybe, right? So, but if there's something in there that interests you, let me know. And we can make learning happen.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, some of us have more experience than others and across the whole commission, so I think those are great opportunities.
Absolutely.
All right, I would there look for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn at 7:53 PM.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.